Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Cromwell. It's a tier 6 British medium tank. It's located on the northeast spawn of Province and it's under the command of xFiZzoo. And, well, he's in platoon with two other players in this game, although he hasn't platooned with them yet. The SU-100Y and the KV-2 on his team. Well, what can I tell you about the Cromwell? Well, it came about because the British realised in 1940 their tanks weren't really up to attacking and taking on the German heavy tanks, or German tanks in general, and so they needed a new design. And the first design that they came up with was, well, it wasn't really that great. That was the Cavalier. They were looking for a cruiser tank, something that was reasonably fast. They already had the Covenanter and the Crusader, and they weren't really very good. In fact, they were absolutely diabolical. They had major problems with overheating, engines, you name it, they had it. But the Cromwell was actually quite a good design. Originally, the first design they came up with was the Cavalier, and if I remember correctly, that was the A24, and then they came along with the A27 design, which was called the Centaur, and both of those used the Liberty engine, which was designed by Nuffields. And Nuffields were the people actually building them. But another company came up with the design, Leyland. They came up with the design for the Cavalier alongside the Birmingham Railway Carriage and Wagon Company. Oh, tracked the KV-2. So you're going to try and get another shot into him. Might be dangerous. Anyway, they came up with the design, and that design, well, was considered innovative because it was going to use the Meteor engine. Now, the Meteor engine is, as you know, a Merlin engine that's been used for ground vehicles rather than for Spitfires. It's the same engine. It's a V12 petrol engine generating significant horsepower. In fact, it could generate up to 600 horsepower in its D-rated version. Of the air engine version, it could generate a lot more because it has a supercharger. Now, the gun on this Cromwell is the 75mm, which is capable of 135 alpha, penetrating 145mm of armour with standard AP, and with the APCR it'll go through 202mm. So you can see it can easily get through the 115mm at the front of an Excelsior, but he lost sight of that Excelsior, so he can't kill it, and there goes that Jackson. Now, they were going to originally fit the same weapon that was actually in the Comet, but they just didn't have a big enough turret ring to actually put the 17-pounder gun in. And they actually wanted to put a high-velocity 75mm in, which is the gun you're seeing here, as opposed to the 6-pounder gun, which is actually a 57mm. Although that gun does have very good armor penetrating capability, it doesn't produce as much damage as the 75mm gun, and it doesn't have a decent high explosive round, which of course you need if you're going to take on enemy trucks and half tracks and gun emplacements, that sort of thing. xFiZzoo's sitting around here for the moment to remain unspotted, make the enemy think about where he's going to pop out next. So originally they were going to fit, as I say, the 75mm gun, but they couldn't originally put it in straight away because, oh, there's the KV-2, because the gun wasn't ready, and it was going to use American 75mm ammunition as standard, but they couldn't develop the 75mm gun straight away, so they did arm some of the Cromwells with the 6-pounder gun instead, the 57mm, and they also produced a tank called the Centaur, which had a 95mm gun. And in fact, actually, there were several tanks which were all called the Cavalier to start with, but the version that was called the Centaur had the 95mm gun, and that was for use for against gun emplacements and that sort of thing. That KV-1's parked himself in a very exposed position, and this tank is so low that he can get shots into that guy fairly easily. One more shot to kill him, and he's got him. Now, can he get a shot on that? Yes! Just got the KV-2 as well, and he's completed whatever mission he was on. He's now got 2 kills. Now, development work actually went on. They started work in 1940 and then they actually completed the design phase in 1943, and that's when they started production of the prototypes and getting ready to actually put this thing into production. There goes the Excelsior. Uh-oh! Another Excelsior. He should have driven behind the wreck so that guy couldn't shoot at him, and he actually just received an enemy guerrilla round which looks like it hit him directly. 240 hit points. Takes out the Excelsior. Just got hit by splash from the SU-122A, and now he's been hit by a T-67 in the tracks. He's stationary because his tracks are being fixed. T-67 is trying to escape. Okay, he's just been asked to platoon with the box tank, and he accepts because they both got 3 kills. In fact, the box tank's got 4 and so has xFiZzoo. There's only 3 enemies left, a Chaffee, a Gorilla and an SU-122A, and he's found the SU-122A. He's firing standard AP at them. That's it, block the other one from shooting directly at him. And there goes the SU-122, but he received a round from that guy at point blank range. And, well, his tracks are being fixed and he's lost his gunner. His first aid kit's on cooldown, which is going to be a bit of a problem from now on, shooting. Only 1 enemy left, the Chaffee. And they've now platooned with the KV-2, who's also got 4 kills. Oh! He didn't kill that T-34, it was that guy who did it. The Chaffee from across the valley got the shot on the T-44. Now he goes down into the dip on the slope, but he can't raise his gun, he can't elevate it enough to get a shot on the Chaffee, so he's having to back up, and his platoon mate is under fire. Can he get the kill? Well, the box tank's trying to turn his gun to face the Chaffee. Oh, he rammed him and took away the last 23 hit points, which means the box tank ended up with 5 kills, and, well, they've all got 13 kills between them. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. And here's the end of battle results, and it was an ace tanker for xFiZzoo in the Cromwell, the standard Cromwell, not the Cromwell B. He managed to get a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 4 exactly, a spotter for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, and he was doing a lot of that actually, because you notice quite a few enemy tanks blew up while he were looking at them, and it wasn't that he had the stare of Medusa, he was just watching the enemy and about to shoot when his teammates across the valley got the kill. He also got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemy tanks. In fact, it was a lot more than that. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed 15. And look at this one. He got a Brothers in Arms for getting at least 3 kills and being in platoon with others who got 3 kills. And a crucial contribution because their platoon managed to get 13 kills between them in total. He also managed to pick up the high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game overall. His win rate from the game was 13,284, and it was a very fast moving game as well, very interesting. Didn't really give me enough time to actually explain more about the Cromwell. I suppose I'll just have to wait for another video where I can actually wax lyrical about this tank. Not a great tank, but it did actually serve a purpose, and there's a lot more to it than you may know. But I'll leave that for another video. Let's have a look at team scores and see where everyone was. Well, you can see that xFiZzoo managed to get the highest damage with 2,866 hit points. The next high scorer was the SU-100Y, the box tank, who got 2,739. And the third highest damage was actually that T-67, the guy who actually screwed it up and got sort of like trapped behind a building and then allowed his teammates across the valley to shoot at him. And that was Thomas Z, and I think actually we might know that guy from What Arty Noobs. I think he might be a member. Let's have a look at the number of damage for the KV-2. He managed 1,375 hit points, but there were 3 enemy players who managed to score more than him, so he's actually in 6th place when it came to damage. But we won't hold that against him because he actually, Boodler, did very well because he did get a Brothers in Arms and crucial contribution. The SU-100Y managed to get a Brothers in Arms crucial contribution and tank sniper for shooting at distance. He must have been shooting across the valley. One of the guys who got the kills, some pretty good kills actually, on the tanks on xFiZzoo's side of the map. When it came to kills, it was the box tank. 5 kills he managed to get. 4 kills went to xFiZzoo, 4 kills to the KV2. It's very unusual to see 13 kills by a platoon in a battle, but it was only the AMX13AM and the M4A3E8 who actually managed to get kills in that game. And I suspect that the AMX13 was actually killed by, yes, he was the one who killed the gorilla, whilst the xFiZzoo was dealing with the SU-122A and wanted to kill the gorilla. Yeah, the AMX13AM kill-stealed and took the gorilla away from him with a nice shot from right across the valley. And the only other player who got a kill was the M4A3E8. So let's have a look at base XP. Well, xFiZzoo, of course, because he was doing the spotting as well as actually doing damage. 1,736 experience points. 1,253 went to the box tank, and only 697 went to the KV2, but he did get those kills, so of course he should be mentioned. Let's have a look at detail. 33 shots of 75mm ammunition were fired by xFiZzoo. He got 27 direct hits and 24 penetrations. Damage of 2,866 hit points, of which 273 were at more than 300 meters, so most of his damage was done at close range. 5 hits received, 1 penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and 7 by splash. He was particularly susceptible to the enemy Arty in this game, which is why you got so many hits on him. They were focusing on him because they felt threatened by him, and they were quite right because he was the biggest danger to them on this side of the map. And the 1 penetration he received, well, I think that was from the Excelsior who smacked him because he drove out through the gates near where the KV2 was located. And of course, instead of, after he killed the Excelsior, he should have moved to the right to get the Excelsior between him and the enemy, but he didn't. And that's how the Excelsior managed to get around into him. And he spotted 8 enemy vehicles in the game. Damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 4, and did 1,817 hit points of spotting assist, so a big amount of spotting, and that's why his XP is so high. On a premium count, he earned 63,678 credits from the game, and after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, and standard ammo, that's what he used. And it was perfectly usable for the penetrating those tanks. Even the Excelsior with its heavy armor, he was able to get through the side of those tanks and the front of them, no problem. He ended up with a profit of 16,842 credits, but because he used the consumables, if he'd actually had a free-to-play account, he would have ended up with a loss for the game. And he earned 2,604 XP, times 2 for the first victory, took away 5,208 experience points altogether. So the Cromwell, even the standard Cromwell, is a pretty deadly tank. It's fast, and although it doesn't have a great traverse, not either of the turret or the actual hull of the vehicle itself, it is still a formidable opponent in any battle because of its speed. And a lot of that goes down to the fact that it's got the Meteor engine, so it's got a lot of horsepower. And the second thing, of course, is that Christie suspension, which allows it to go quickly across rough terrain. So yeah, very dangerous tank, and just goes to show how good it can be in the hands of somebody who knows how to use it. So well done to xFiZzoo. I'm sure we're going to be seeing you again very shortly because I've got loads of replays from you, and we're just going to go through them one by one because he sent them all in at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.